roll call, please.
Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Forbes.
Present.
Councilmember Bench.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
Present.
Councilmember Scherzer.
Present.
Councilmember Millen.
Present.
Councilmember Balls.
Present.
Councilmember Ostash.
Present.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
We have 8 members present, 1 absent.
Okay. Then do we have any announcements, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'd like everyone to be aware that the ballots for the November 3rd election are now available, and the city clerk's office is extending hours for election-related business on Wednesdays, October 14th, 21st, and 28th until 7 o'clock p.m. Also on Saturday, October 24th, from 10 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m., and Saturday, October 31st, from 8 o'clock a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. And for your convenience, you can verify your voter registration, verify your precinct location, and track your ballot at michigan.gov. Click on the Government tab and click on Voter Information Center, or you can call 989-759-1480 and press number 6. And Mayor, that takes us to public input.
Thank you. I think we have one tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
I want to remind our speaker that this is not a question and answer period. We ask that you identify yourself, and whether or not you are speaking on behalf of yourself or a group, that you be polite and respectful to council and those listening on SGTV, and that you need to be reminded you have a 3-minute time limit that will be timed by the clerk. So if you are ready, Madam Clerk, we can call the name of the speaker.
Our first speaker and only speaker is Michelle McGregor.
Ms. McGregor.
Good evening. How is everyone?
Good, thank you.
My name is Michelle McGregor. I'm the Executive Director of First Ward Community Center here in the city of Saginaw. And I am here to, one, thank the City of Saginaw Community Development Block Grant and the Human Planning Commission for all of their support, as well as the City of Saginaw for their support in helping First Ward become ADA compliant. That allowed us to receive the designation from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We have received our designation as an Envision Center. And so I just want to say, with the partnership of the City of Saginaw, as well as the Saginaw Housing Commission and First Ward Community Service, we'll be able to not only handle, but work with families in our community to become self-sufficient while leveraging some of the scarce federal agency dollars as well as programs that will be allowed in our community. And so I just want to say thank you. I did send a virtual invitation to Mayor Clark and the city manager, as well as every council member, to attend our ribbon cutting ceremony, which would be on Tuesday the 20th at 11 a.m. at First Ward Community Center Pavilion. And it will be an opportunity to meet with Mr. Joseph Gavin, who is the Midwest Regional Administrator of HUD, who will be offering the designation for us. And I also extended the invitation for our mayor and our city manager if they would like to have words, or any council member that would like to have words at this event. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone at the City of Saginaw for supporting First Ward and supporting our families and the community of Saginaw. This is actually monumental that we have this Envision Center in our area that will continue to help our families become self-sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McGovern, and thank you, McGregor, I apologize. And thank you for your letting us know, for the invitation on behalf of myself and all the council members and the manager. And congratulations on the Envision Center and its opening.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Mayor, you are now at Remarks of Council.
All right, today we will be starting with Councilmember Milne. I want to remind everyone of the 3-minute limit. Councilmember Milne?
Thank you, Mayor Clark. I wanted to start with mention last week we had our fire department awards and memorial ceremony. Our firefighter of the year was Lieutenant Raymond Tanner. And we had some other recognitions of promotions and retirements. After 30 years service on the job, Battalion Chief Dan Willoughby retired and was recognized for that length of service. Promotions included a Captain James Champney to Battalion Chief, Captain Scott Yaw to Battalion Chief, Lieutenant James Foreman to Captain, Lieutenant Aileen Pettinger to Captain, and Engineer Robert Weaver to Lieutenant. And we had one other length of service recognized, and that's our fire chief, Chief Van Loo, is also a 30-year veteran of our department. So I wanted to congratulate all of them. A number of the council members and the mayor were in attendance, so it was as normal as we could make it. It was outdoors on a beautiful day. Also on Tuesday the 6th last week was a cleanup effort led by the Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy. I joined that, and I think Councilman Ostash may have been there. It included volunteers from the UAW and Dow Chemical, and our county treasurer, Tim Novak, representing the county land bank. This was at one of our regular tough spots, the 9th and Carlisle area. And I just read the Facebook post on that. It says there was 140 yards of debris was cleaned up there. It included the city. Phil Carwatt sent over our Bobcat to help load some of the debris. And I just think it's another example of a great team effort, the city getting together and other agencies and the volunteers. And not all of them live in our community. They care that much about our community. They're part of organizations that are represented here. The third thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to thank our friends at the Saginaw chapter of the NAACP for holding a virtual candidates forum last Thursday, October 8th, for the 11 city council candidates who are up for election this year. Normally they would have a live forum, but they have adapted to this year's special conditions. And this is a tradition of theirs that all the council candidates, I think, look forward to taking part in. Especially this year, it's a way to get information out to the voters where there aren't as many in-person events available. And that's my comments.
Thank you, Council Member Scherzer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to Ms. McGregor for coming in and sharing the great news from First Ward. We appreciate all that you do, and we look forward to seeing the Envision Center come to fruition. I also want to share the sentiments with Councilman Milne on our fire department, and a special congratulations to Captain Aileen Pettinger for your promotion. Proud of you, and look forward to the continued great work of all of our promoted fire department firefighters, captains, battalion chiefs, and all that. And that is all I have. Just want to remind everyone, please get out and vote.
Thank you. Next, Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. McGregor. I'm sure that we will be in attendance to the new center, or to the new name or renaming, I think, First Ward. Also, I'd like to just echo congratulations to all our firefighters. I was unable to attend, but I heard it was beautiful. And so congratulations, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great thing for Saginaw. On the 25th of October, Saginaw Sheriff's Department will be having a trick or trunk at Out the Hill High School. It's going to be nice. They're going to have some costumes and we're going to dance. I think if my leg, I'm arthritis to my leg, but if my leg can do it, I'm going to be in the formation to do the hustle. So we'll be on the front line of Out the Hill High School on the 29th of October. Great Giant, along with Community Coming Together, will be having its second annual Trick or Trunk, which is over at the store on Sheridan. We will be at Newburgh parking lot. My city council members, last year some of you came and you promised me you were gonna come. This year, I'm asking anybody that wants to come, please get a hold of me. All of the candy is going to be individually. It's going to be in individual bags. We're going to follow the same rule as the sheriff's department. We actually may have some extra or some reachers so we can stay 6 feet apart. Mayor, I know you told me this morning you can't dance, but if we over there, we got the stage, man. We can do the hustle. We can do it off of Jason's song. So I'm excited about the things that are coming up. Once again, I'm going to keep echoing this with all of my fellow council people. If you don't exercise your right to vote, shame on you. Shame on you. I'm encouraging everyone to get out and vote. I know that that's going to be taxing, but we got some stuff that we need to be trying to vote for, and we need to do what we need to do. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Mayor, your microphone is muted.
Oh,
Thank you,
very
Council.
much
Thank you.
there. I'm done.
I forgot to unmute it. Thank you, Janet. Council member, well, before we go, real quickly, what were the dates of the times on the 2 trunk or treat events?
Okay. Out the Hill is October the 25th. It's a Sunday afternoon. If you're
time?
Let me a minute. If you're interested in being there, we need you to be there by 12 o'clock because they're going to line the cars up. But the actual event starts 2 to 4. Okay?
Yep.
On the 29th, we ask you to be there by 3 because we're starting at 5 and we go 5 to 7.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, next we have Council Member Bench.
Good evening, everybody. I too want to extend my congratulations and thanks to Ms. McGregor for the Envision Center and just all the wonderful work she does with First Ward and all the good things that they do for our community and how needed they are. I want to thank them. I also want to thank the NAACP, as Councilman Milne did. They put on a wonderful forum, as they always do, and we really appreciate it since it's so hard to get out safely in the public. I also wanted to thank our firefighters and commend them all for, first of all, putting on such a wonderful event outdoors and doing so safely, for the fire awards, and just congratulate everyone on their promotions and their retirement and all the good work that they do. Every year when we attend, we hear about the heroics and just the different things that have happened throughout the year, the different car accidents and fires that they respond to. And it's always moving, and it's always touching to see just the different citizens that end up being recognized for their heroics and things that they do to help the people in the community who are suffering. I wanted to also mention the passing of my dear friend and a dear friend to many, Bruce Lehman. He was recognized by council not too long ago for all of the things he does in the community for Major Courts for Minors. And it's just very sad to see him leave us all. And I just wanted to extend my condolences to my Major Courts for Minors family and send them all my love. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Council Member Forbes.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. I am repeating a few of my other council members, but I would like to also congratulate Michelle McGregor and the entire First Ward family on their designation as a HUD Envision Center. They have done decades of amazing work in this community, and I look forward to many, many more. I wanted to again congratulate our clerk and her entire staff on their humongous grant of $400,000 from the Center for Tech and Civic Life. And one of the ways that that's going to play out, just as you'll see on our agenda tonight, is that we're purchasing 4 new drop boxes that are going to be located in every quadrant of the city so that folks can more easily drop off their absentee ballots. And I know that those have been chosen, but I don't think they're installed yet, so we won't talk about where they are, but I know that we're going to do our very best to make sure that information gets out so that everyone can have access to voting. This is so very important. And I know that this will probably be something that we have every election going forward. And that's really exciting too, because this means that the citizens will have better access forever. So it's wonderful. And there's so many other ways that this grant is going to help us. So again, I just want to congratulate our staff for pursuing it and getting it. And now all this implementation, it's really exciting. Also want to remind once again that if you Google Michigan Voter Information Center, there's tons of resources available, like your sample ballot. So you could research all of your items before you get ready to vote. You can even line it all up so that you're super prepared when you go into the ballot box. You can check your voting location, see where your absentee ballot is in the process. It's just a wonderful resource. So I encourage you to Google Michigan Voter Information Center. I'd also like to congratulate all of our firefighters for their accomplishments and to thank them for our service. I wasn't able to come, but I was with you in spirit, so congratulations. And I would also like to express my condolences to the Major Chords for Minors family and the Red Eye family over the loss of Bruce Lehman. But I know that he is going to impact so many people in this community for so long through his influence in others. And so I would just like to keep that entire crew in my thoughts and prayers as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councilmember Williams.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity, first off, to say that I believe my council members are going to cover everything that needs to be said. On a personal note, I would really like to express that I've added a new family member to my home, a red Doberman named Rain. She is a puppy, spent 9 hours driving to get. I want to express that because what I want my fellow law enforcement officers and my fellow firefighters, EMS, emergency personnel to understand, if you have the opportunity to add a living being, especially a puppy, into your home, you're going to have almost immediate mental stress relief. And I would urge you to do so, whether it's through purchasing or adopting. Please get yourself a pet. I am in love off of just the ride back. So that's all I have. I'm very happy tonight, and I thank my fellow council members for covering everything else that needs to be said, and I concur with my fellow council members, but I'm extremely happy tonight. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ashash.
Good evening, Mayor. And I'm going to agree with Councilman Williams there. I have 4 rescues of Scottish Terriers. So yes, they bring a lot of joy to your life. And now that I work from home, my recent Netta, she stays with me all day and keeps me company. Also, Michelle McGregor, thank you for coming and sharing that with us. I'm excited. I wrote that down, and I have every intention of being there for the ceremony. Congratulations to all of our firefighters. It was on my calendar to be there, and I had some work things that came up at the last minute. I do information technology, so we all know how that can change in the spur of a minute. But congratulations once again. I do want to give a shout out to the Saginaw branch for the Women's National Farm and Garden Association. They just did a big daffodil plant over by the Cushway House, which is on Forney Street across from the YMCA. A little history, that Cushway House is the oldest house that is in Saginaw, so that my neighbor Tom Mudd takes care of that, and that's he has tours and stuff that he does there. But they did over 2,200 bulbs, and I think that was just a great thing that they've done down there. So year by year, those will come back even more and more. So they're trying to do something. And that's a project that they've been working on for quite a while. So I was actually kind of glad to be involved with them a little bit and getting them connected to the right folks to make that happen. So thank you, Phil Carwatt and Tim Morales, for extending a hand on that and helping these folks out to finally get that done and planted. Also on September 29th, had an opportunity to go over to the Lee Mansion and see the stained glass being unveiled. That was huge. What an emotional event for me with my involvement with Alex Mixter and the team and Alex DePerry Builders and Amber Builders that have been working on this project. And it was nice to see that my dear past friend Greg Branch, the room where the glass is installed is being named after him. So it was nice to see his wife Ann there and kids as well. So quite an honor to Mr. Branch to dedicate that room to him for his love for that house and the restoration to it. Little thing we found out that day is there's these little blue diamonds in the glass. So for the last 140 years, they've been installed backwards. So now that they have them in the right way, they'll illuminate rainbows into the room. So kind of a neat little tidbit that we learned that day there too. So Mayor, that is all I have. Everybody, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Balt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to say hi to all the citizens that's looking at us on TV. I really don't have a lot to say, but I would like to say that as a first community center kid myself, attending there, I think started in 1964 or 5, and donating all my United Way funds there for the 40 years that I worked in the steering gear plant. I'd like to thank Mr. McGregor for being recognized as an Envision Center, and I'm sure it's going to help out the community a whole lot. So congratulations, Ms. McGregor, on your accomplishment, and for the community too, because I know you guys will do a fine job. I'd like to speak on things that's happening in the city that is bothering me with crime. Some kind of way we got to find out some kind of way to stop hurting each other in the city of Saginaw. I know a lot of people that probably doing the crimes and stuff probably not listening to us on the city council meetings, but we got to find some kind of way to stop the crime in our city, because it hurts us so much, to our families too, because once one family member get hurt, the whole family get hurt. And I'm tired of seeing this happen in our beautiful city. Other than that, I don't have too much to say. Just want to wish everybody a nice fall day, and please don't forget to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we've got everybody now. I want to give a quick shout out to a Firefighter of the Year, Lieutenant Raymond Tanner, as well as my fellow council members. I had the honor of participating at the awards and giving the Fire Prevention Week proclamation on behalf of the city council, the city staff. It was a great ceremony. It was really an honor to be able to do that. The MML virtual convention was the September 30th and October 1st, and then continued with the Michigan Association of Mayors annual meeting on the 2nd. So, and that was the topping off of our Mayor Pro Tem Brenda Moore's year as mayor, and as president of the association, and all her planning helped get that convention virtually and make it successful. So thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Moore, and it was a great convention. I also had the honor of attending the ceremony at the Houghton Jones Resource Center for its renaming as the Christina Jones Resource Center, in honor of Christina Jones' 28 years on its board and her role as a guiding light for both the Resource Center and the Houghton Jones Neighborhood Association. So a big thank you to Christina Jones. Many of you have seen her come before council. She is a dedicated person on behalf of her neighborhood and the people who live there. And she's not afraid to call us out if we do something wrong. So she may be back now that she has the Resource Center named after her. So be ready. The Saginaw Police Department Officer of the Month is Ryan Baxter. And I wanted to make sure we mentioned that. The final thing I want to mention is we are not done with the census yet. If you know anybody who has not completed the census, please make sure that they do so. It is critical to our representation in Congress and to funding from the federal government to the city. So do not forget that. It's still available to be completed. With that, I am done as well. And Madam Clerk, we are ready for the next item.
Our next order of business is the reports from the manager.
Mr. Manager, what do you have for us today?
Good evening, everyone, and a few items to update you on. We do have all of the drop boxes installed as of Friday. If they're ready to be used, I'll let the clerk notify you on the locations after I finish my update if she wants to do that. Also, just kind of a clarification, the drop boxes are on for affirming the purchase of Council Communication number 5, and those are being purchased out of the General Fund Election Division, not the grant. So those are purchased from our regular election fund. Just wanted to make that clear so Council's aware of that. City administration will also be bringing financing packages to Council, either before the end of the year or near the end of the year. And there are currently low interest rates, so there will be an opportunity to refinance one of our water department bonds, and that's going to save us some significant funds in the water department on interest payments. And we'll also likely bring forward new bond issuances with projects, specific projects or general projects within the water department. It's a good opportunity to finance these projects given the current interest rates. And that kind of goes into Council Communication number 19. We are recommending the addition of the firm Baker Tilly to the group of financial advisors, as well as an increase to the annual purchase order. Baker Tilly has recently added a staff member with whom the city has previously worked, and the consultant is familiar with the city's operations, and we've always appreciated the professional, experienced approach. The additional amount of the annual purchase order is necessary due to the upcoming projects. We are considering additional rate analysis for the water fund due to the effects of COVID-19 on the revenues. A sewer fund rate study has not been completed since September 2008, and we are planning to have that start soon. We're also in the midst of developing a funding source plan using available bond opportunities, as I mentioned before, as well as grant and low interest loans with potential principal forgiveness through the state drinking water and sewer revolving loan funds and FEMA federal grant funding. We're reviewing a lot of those issues, and we may need further assistance from financial advisors. And I would also add my congratulations to Chief Van Loo and the fire department on the award ceremony. Again, as several council members mentioned, it was a much smaller event than usual due to the COVID-19 protocols. However, it still provided an opportunity to recognize our firefighters, citizens, and other city workers for their contributions. As mentioned, Lieutenant Raymond Tanner was recognized as the 2020 Firefighter of the Year. Lieutenant Tanner has set himself apart from his peers through his professionalism, dedication to duty, and willingness to do whatever is needed to benefit the Saginaw Fire Department and the citizens of Saginaw. Lieutenant Tanner has taken the initiatives to schedule and complete various training evolutions at the company level, ensuring that his crew is receiving the highest level of training on a daily basis. Lieutenant Tanner has also taken initiative with training the department's new hires, ensuring they are completing their required tasks and training. Congratulations to Lieutenant Tanner. I have received a few questions from council members, and one was I received from Council Member Milne regarding county chargebacks for foreclosed properties. The county treasurer indicated that the county will not be processing tax foreclosures in 2020. In Michigan, local units receive payment from counties when taxes are unpaid at the local level and are transferred to the county treasurer. In the event of a tax foreclosure, the county charges back the payment to the local unit, which we just referred to as a chargeback in the budget. The city does budget for those chargebacks. However, if the county is not foreclosing, it is our assumption that they will not issue chargebacks on accounts that are not foreclosed. If you're unaware, that is not county general fund money. The county does borrow from a state fund to make those payments. But we will follow up with the county treasurer to make sure that we're planning correctly and working toward a good resolution to that matter. I also received questions from council members about city parks, so I wanted to clarify a few items that maybe some in the public may not be aware, but we closed parks early on during the COVID crisis due to large crowds that were gathering in some of them. And all of our parks that have gated access, if we're able to close those gates, those have been closed for several months, all of which were closed at about the same time. The skate park is also closed, and the splash pad. We determined early on not to open it, and it was never opened this year. We plan to keep those closed probably into the spring, and then at that time reevaluate. When we did make that determination, that was one of the items we discussed during our agenda review meeting. We did talk that over with the mayor pro tem, but that's where we stand at this point. I know Fordney Park is one of the locations for the drop boxes, so I'm sure that will be open because we do want to maintain access for those ballot drop boxes. And the last item, I'm sorry, I do have two more things. One, I also wanted to mention that John Stemple and Darren Jerome and the environmental crews played a huge role in the cleanup at 9th and Carlisle. So I wanted to make sure they were recognized for that. I don't think city staff would have been able to do that without their assistance. And now the final item, as you all know, the Supreme Court has ruled that the governor's executive orders are not constitutional. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has issued public health related orders regarding mass gathering size in particular. However, they have not, or I don't believe they have the authority to allow us to continue to have virtual meetings. That's an Open Meetings Act issue. There is currently a bill that the city attorney is following. I believe it passed the Senate and it may be in House committee at this point. And she will continue to follow that would allow virtual meetings. However, our next meeting is in 2 weeks, so it's important that we review the possibility of returning to in-person meetings. Public Services, Technical Services, and I will be meeting to discuss the potential council chamber layout and limits for attendees. And we would also review the public health guidelines with the city attorney and putting together plans. And once that is complete, we'll then walk through those plans with the mayor and mayor pro tem, and they can communicate them. We'll communicate them back to the rest of council. And that concludes the management update.
Manager, are there any questions for the city manager at this time? Any questions?
Question.
Yes, proceed.
Were we going to talk about the location of the 4 drop boxes?
Mr. Manager, I think you said that the clerk could do that.
Yes, Janet, do you want to mention the Dropbox locations?
Oh, absolutely, I do. Thank you. The chosen additional locations besides City Hall, we looked at the location here in the back parking lot, which is a central location at City Hall. Then we looked at the city as a whole and divided it by quadrants. Those locations are the La Union Civica Mexicana, which is on Wadsworth Road, Wanagas Credit Union, which is at Bagley, but you will be using the Roberts Street access, and Fordney Park, which is city property, that is open, and you need to use the Gratiot Avenue access. And also at Davenport Manor, which is on Davenport Avenue. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions for the manager at this time? Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, Madam Clerk, we can proceed.
We are now at the consent agenda.
The agenda has been available at City Hall, on the city website, and SGTV channel 191. Are there any exceptions to be noted by the clerk at this time? Any exceptions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Councilman Millen, move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a
Councilman
second?
Report.
That was Ostash for the support, or Williams?
Balls.
Balls. I didn't get it right either way. I apologize. Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, you had more time for the opposition and I hear none, so it will have passed. And we are ready, Madam Clerk, for the next item.
We are now ready for the board's commission and committee reports.
Are there any reports from any council member at this time?
Councilman Millen.
Go ahead, Councilman Millen.
I have two reports. They're both of a negative sense. The regularly scheduled October meeting of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority was canceled. We had no business items to deal with. And the regular October meeting of the MBS International Airport Commission was canceled for October. No pressing items. Both will have their next regular scheduled meeting, MBS Airport in November and the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority in January of 2021. That's the only report.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? I can report the 911 board had a board meeting, its annual meeting, and basically re-elected the same persons as the chairman and other officers of the board. The 911 agency currently has I think we mentioned this before, but does have a secondary site for any emergencies, and will be operating out of that site during the course of demolition of the connection, the electronic connection between the jail and the existing 911 facility. Although I think that may be done by now. The site is over at the Saginaw Township Fire Station number 2. It's a complete setup for 911. So whether in this event or in future emergencies, can operate independently of the main 911 center. The Crime Prevention Council meeting was also held, and other than what's been happening that you've seen reported by the police chief, there isn't much new to report. Crime is up, as everyone knows, although we have not been up as much as in some of the major cities, which is even though it's a negative, it's still, at least there's a silver lining there. And that's all I have. Anybody else? One last time. All right, Madam Clerk.
We are at appointment of board and commission members, and we do have one this evening. It's the council appointment of Paul Wrench to the Saginaw Midland Municipal Water Supply Corporation with a term to expire December 31st, 2026.
Excuse my interruption, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to approve?
So move. More.
Second?
Bench, second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? No opposition, the motion passes. Madam Clerk.
We are now down to miscellaneous business. Our first item is city manager's evaluation.
Yes, today we do have I hope, did everyone receive the city manager's evaluation that I sent out to council members?
Yeah.
All right. The synopsis of it was in basically that the city manager, on a series of let me see here as I pull it up. On several categories has scored quite well, with no negatives to speak of. Let's see, on the budget and resource development utilization, overall score was 90. I've got to get to it here. 94 point, or excuse me, it was 4.07 4.47. I'm having trouble going to another computer here, but 4.47 out of a possible score of 5. Excellent result. The resource utilization category, the final score was 4.22 out of 5. Again, excellent. Planning, the ultimate result was a score of 4.20. The next category of policy was let me find it here, was 4.22. Again, excellent. There were comments, including that one request was that we could get more on the legal briefs, a legal briefing on the legal status of our cases and other issues. Another was done great in the area. And third one is council and manager complement each other to accomplish council's goals and policies. I believe, and I'm going to step back a little bit, there were some comments in resource development utilization that it has been an interesting year all around. There has been recent challenges with retirements and replacements. I feel that we have done a good job to keep these positions filled and the city moving. Also with COVID this year, it was very difficult to keep the city available for its residents. I feel Tim did a good job with this and all challenges brought forth for these unknowns, also done great in this area. And then next, Tim and staff constantly use technology to improve city operations. Under finance, there was a comment that is one of the manager's strong suits. Going on to the next category, let me find it here, is communication. The final score again was in above 4. It was at, gotta find it here, 4.22. Again, many good comments as well. Communications to the council, I feel, is fine. While the manager already does a great job, feedback from the community seems to indicate they'd like to see him more once the public health concerns have passed. Another is simply the word great. Next category is organizational and managerial effectiveness. The overall score was 4.36 with comments of does great in this area. I consistently hear from staff, all levels of employees, that they are very happy during or under Mr. Morales' leadership. The results speak for themselves, and there are other good ones. Again, no negatives. The next consideration was leadership and staff development. Overall result was 4.26. Works well with staff and council as a comment viewed from outside the organization seems to run effectively. Next category, managerial effectiveness. Excuse me. Overall score of 4.13. Comments include keeps the council informed on seen and unseen problems. Tim is definitely a leader. Mr. Morales is sincere, thoughtful, approachable, and very easy to work with. I know that sometimes policies take time in order to be good policies, but sometimes I wish that we had heard more updates about projects as they progress, so we could update the public when asked. That is something I'm sure Mr. Morales will take note of. And the next category, community responsiveness. The overall score achieved was 4.28. Some comments there. Works great with community and business. We have an amazing public servant. Represents the city well to outside organizations. And several other positives. And let's see, under respect and recognition category, the overall score achieved was 4.33, with comments such as make sure achievements are recognized and rewarded. Again, the word great. And also, I'm sure Tim would like to give raises to many of his employees, but I think he does his best with the resources we have. Of course, that's a reflection of the limited resources, including our tax cap issues. Finally, under honesty and integrity, the overall score was 4.47 with simple comments of outstanding. He is an honorable man and at all times shows honesty and integrity. There is additional comments not mentioned in previous sections. Comment 1 is Tim is why I became a council member. Teamwork is a hallmark of city operations and governance. He is doing a great job. Tim's performance overall has been excellent. So overall weighted score on all categories is 4.27. I think we can say that, Tim, you're doing an excellent job. You have had a chance to review this as well, because I forwarded it to Tim when we sent it to council members. He had not seen it previously, but Tim, or council members, if anyone else has any comments, I'd certainly welcome them at this time. And then, Tim, I think you should have an opportunity to respond as well. Council members?
Councilmember Millen?
Yes, Councilmember Millen.
If I were to go on at length, I would echo what you just said about Tim doing a great job. I just wanted to focus a moment on the process that I think this allowed all of us to recognize how we felt about the performance and try to assign it a value. But it's also the beginning of having a well-founded annual process where we will prepare a goal setting next year and a review of the meeting of goals each year as a means of evaluating performance. And this is not just a textbook exercise. This provides the basis for making personnel decisions and salary changes, all those types of things, because we live in a world where a manager like Mr. Morales is highly valued, not just by us. And this is a tool for us to be able to try and make sure we keep Tim and the team he's put together working for us. So I think this is a good first effort. I will say I heard from more than one place that we could perhaps pare it down a little bit in its length, but the goal of covering a wide range of Tim's activities and interactions with the city citizens and the city council and staff, I think is very well met by the evaluation we've just done.
Thank you. Any other council members?
This is Mayor Pro Tem.
Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Tim, I just want you to know, my past 7 years, you have been dynamite. I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders, probably because we do get along so well. And we probably have our ups and downs, but you never show it. So I want to thank you personally for doing what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Councilwoman Bench.
Go ahead, Councilmember Bench.
I just wanted to say to Tim that the praise is well earned, and how appreciative I am of the hard work and dedication he's put into being our city manager. And we are very fortunate to have him. He could take his talents and go elsewhere, I'm sure, and people would welcome him. So when we say to people that we are lucky to have him and that we are in good hands, we're being honest. He is doing a wonderful job. And he was really the manager we needed when the last one departed. And I'm very, very glad that that he wanted to serve in the position and that we were fortunate enough to select him. So thank you, Tim, for everything you do. And thank you to your department heads for everything they do as well.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. I'd like to tell Tim, thank you for the fine job that you're doing. And tell the rest of the council members that don't mention to him that someone else may want him, that may put us in a bind. So don't do that. So, but Tim, thank you for all the good work you've been doing, man. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else?
And this is Ostash.
Go ahead, Councilmember.
So, Tim's been helpful on a few issues that I've had actually over the course of the last year and more. But, we had a conversation and I said to the manager, I said, a lot of times when your residents or your citizens reach out to you, by the time they get to you, they're pretty frustrated. They can't figure out the process, how to get an answer to something, or who do I talk to in a department? It could be simple as some weeds that need to be cut down or something to be attended to. And Tim was very open to when I had to come to him to say, hey, I've got this citizen or this resident needs help. And not all the time did I get back with Tim, but now I'm actually getting a chance to say something. But I'm getting back with them. They were really appreciative and glad that you were able to take care of things for them. Because like I said, by the time they get to us, I think the word I used was they're pretty honked off or they're trying to get help. So, so thank you for that. And then that's all I have for right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
If no one else has additional comment,
Councilman Williams.
Yeah, we'll let Reggie go
Williams.
First.
Yes.
Tim, I just want to say that I probably had less interaction with you as a council person versus as a police officer with the city. And I just want to comment on your professionalism. You've always been very professional, and I admire that, and it's definitely what we've needed since you've been in your position. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. Anybody else before Councilmember Bell back? Anybody else?
Mayor,
yes.
I'll just make a few comments, and I want to thank council members for all the support because we don't have an evaluation for council members, but you all give me and my staff the ability to do our job the way that we're supposed to do it. And I know you all know the charter and you know what your roles are, and I appreciate that. And there may be a lot of other places, but a lot of other places don't allow you the ability to do the job that you're supposed to do either. So I appreciate that, and I think that's a two-way street with council that we have. And I appreciate the relationship that we've been able to form. Also, that several council members have with the department heads. I know that they feel comfortable talking to you, and that says a lot about you all as well. Also thankful that you all could do the evaluation this year. I know it had a quick turnaround time, so it was pretty lengthy. Appreciate the fact that you all were able to do that with the short turnaround time. We had to do a few things to make it happen, so that's why we had this week or 2 weeks to get it done. But the technical services staff did a great job with this as well. They put together the format and the scoring system, so I think that's a testament to that department and what they can do as well. They actually put together the online survey and also the scoring system. So I think the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem just got a report right out of the system that had everything averaged, summarized, and including comments. So that was a great job by Jeff Klopsick and his staff. And then I have to give a lot of credit to the staff we have in the city, and all the department heads and the employees, I think, do a great job. I think our employees are willing to help people and get the job done in the way we can. They're innovative. They're willing to change to provide better services to our citizens, and that's evident in most every department that we have. Most clearly can be seen as Councilmember Balls has said several times about the streets projects that we've been doing. That was a huge change. And all of our staff does that. And I can even point to setting up these virtual meetings, Jeff Fox again, and technical services. This isn't easy to do, and to coordinate all of the personal appearances and get this so people can view it. So the way our staff adapts. I really appreciate everything they do. So just wanted to make those comments as well.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any other council members have any other comments? I do want to thank you, Mr. Manager, for my years and the responsiveness to me, everything all the way from my work as a council member through Mayor Pro Tem and now as mayor. I really appreciate how you've been easy to work with and so kind and professional. It has been a real blessing, and I have enjoyed it very much. One of the things I want to mention to council is the manager's contract calls for a yearly evaluation. It hasn't been done. This was one of the reasons we wanted to get it done now, so we would provide a baseline of performance for our city manager. But in addition, the manager's contract also calls for, by I think it's April, Tim, is that correct? To set out for council to set out their expectations of the manager so that the following year's evaluation would have that baseline as well. Is that correct?
It's either by the end of March or April. I would have to look it up.
Yeah. And either way, that means council needs to be thinking of these matters over the next few months, and the next mayor, whoever that will be, will need to have it on their radar for making sure in January or February to initiate the process for creating those expectations for by the deadline under the manager's contract, so we can do this properly. This year we had to actually created a memorandum of understanding to the manager's contract to allow that to happen. So to allow it to happen now, I would urge our future council to keep it on their agendas as a timely topic for work in the early part of the new year each year, and then to prepare for an evaluation timely under the contract. So, but Tim, I'm so happy that we were able to get this done. Thank you for your cooperation with the memorandum of understanding so we could do it. I think it is important for you to have this baseline. It is important for our current council members to understand the where you have been and where the council itself feels you have been in performing your work as the city manager for the city. And I'm just happy to have been a part of your of being involved with your administration, and to be able to have made sure that we created this initiated and got this performance evaluation completed, because a score of 4.27 overall is remarkable. It is well deserved. And it's important that you know that we appreciate all you do. So with that, unless any other council member has any other comments, or Mr. Manager, if you have any comments, I think we can proceed on.
I just have Councilman Millen.
Yes, Councilmember Millen.
With the exception of the mayor's personal comments, I think he was reading my mind on where we go forward with this process. And I think I'd like to see us use some of the comments and ratings here to create what are the goals that from this year. Not that there were any low scoring areas, but there were areas where it could be seen that among the 9 council members, more had a feeling an area could improve a little. So I think this is going to be something we can develop into this year's goals to be reviewed in April, and then set some more concrete goals at that time. Much as none of us has a crystal ball, things change very quickly. As any goals that might have been set for this year probably would have been set aside by about April. So I think this is going to be what we do have to do right after the first year with the new council, is make sure we're working with this as our base. And that's all.
Thank you. I absolutely agree. I'm sure all council members do as well as the city manager. Any other comments from anyone at this time?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Moore. my understanding, and I need to clear this so that I understand. We will just talk about what we want to see. He is not to be evaluated next year. He is only to be evaluated, I need clarification, in 2022.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. And the reason is we did not actually set goals and standards last April. So it would behoove us, or the new council that is seated in November, to plan on doing that by April of the deadline of 2021, so that the manager will then have the standards and goals to achieve by the following 2022 deadline for an evaluation.
Right. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yeah, Councilman Ostash here. So going along with what we're talking about, I 100% totally agree. This is kind of how the process works in anything, corporation or businesses. You set goals and then you try to achieve them. And I think while we do this and we talk about this with the new council, like the mayor is talking about, we also take fact of our mission and vision and core values that were worked on so hard, and we try to work with that, because if you read those, it'll all kind of tie into setting some of those expectations that, and I look forward to doing that. So I'm glad that Councilman Milne, that you brought that up earlier in the meeting, and that that we start to do this next year, because we also mentioned too that I think Tim, you mentioned something about that we're not evaluated. The council members really are evaluated because we work for the citizens, and so if we're not listening to them and then bringing that to you and then trying to get those taken care of, I think that if we kind of look at that process as well, it'll help us to develop some of these goals that we want to try and achieve with you and work towards.
Thank you. I do. It's not really won't be my place, but I would suggest for the future council that they consider a subcommittee of 2, maybe 3 people from the council to do what we've talked about today, to begin setting those goals and standards, and use the policies and guidelines in our mission statement, as well as perhaps this evaluation and so on, in order to meet with the manager in a timely fashion before the deadline to set those goals. So it's just a suggestion, but I do think it's important that we begin taking the process seriously of getting the evaluations done on a regular basis.
Yeah.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. Another item under miscellaneous business is consideration for a closed session to discuss pending litigation in the Koloff versus the City of Saginaw per MCL 15.268, Section E.
Thank you. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Support.
Is there support? I did not hear who that was.
Balls.
Balls gave support. Now, any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, we need a roll call, I believe.
Yes, we do. Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Forbes. Councilmember Bench. Councilmember Bench. Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Scherzer.
Yes.
Councilmember Millen.
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Balls. Councilmember Ostash.
Yes.
And Mayor Clark.
Yes.
We have 9 yes votes, 0 nay. Motion is approved.
Then we are, all right, there is a motion. Is there a second to return?
More.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, what is the vote on the motion to go back into open session?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? It is carried. Now we are back in open session. Is there a motion regarding the results of the closed session?
Councilman Millen?
Go ahead.
I will move to approve the recommendation of legal counsel regarding the call-off litigation as discussed in closed session, providing council authority to seek the settlement.
All right. Is there a second?
Bench seconds.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? And Mr. Manager, will that suffice as the motion?
Amy is standing.
Yes.
All right. Then it has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? No opposition. It is carried. All right. Now we need to know, is there any other business to bring before council? Any other business? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
More.
There's
Bench.
bench seconded, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is carried. We are now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.